had Amulya rendering the invocation song. Thank you, Amulya. I now invite Shrishti to welcome our director, Archana ma'am, who will address this august audience.
Thank you, Shreya. Having a great work culture is not an option. It is a necessity. This is how our inspirational leader takes us across all our challenges. Being able to motivate and influence others is an incredibly important skill of a leader. Let's put our hands together and welcome ma'am.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I extend a very warm welcome to all of you on the occasion of our 11th annual day celebrations at Jain Heritage School. Today, we are on the last session of our annual day celebrations. We are through with 6 sessions of class-wise annual day celebrations. This is the first year, for the information of our esteemed audience, that more than 1,950 students have been mapped through our 3-day celebrations of our annual day. And the full credit goes to all our teachers and our team of performing arts teachers who have motivated our children to be a part of this annual day celebrations. Please give them a big round of applause. It's very easy to let go of things, isn't it? Harder to convince our children and put them on stage. It took us, all of us, including me, many days to convince the children to come up on stage. They were always with reasons, a few of them. Some of them were not happy with the choice of songs. Some of them were not happy with enacting certain roles. So it was very easy for us to let go of things, but we didn't. We wanted them to perform on stage. These are memories, I'm sure you'll agree with me, which are going to last for a lifetime. And as they get into teens and then into college, it's harder to talk to them. How many of you agree with me? Yes, thank you. All of you should agree with me, because I'm sure all of you are going through this phase in life where there are a lot of disagreements and arguments at home and in the school regarding issues. Many of you sitting in the audience have been witness to the scintillating performances of our students in the last 2 days. Different sessions starting from pre-fundamentals. And today, when I look back at the 6 sessions, and I'm sure many of you sitting in the audience will agree, all these performances again, which the children have put up on stage, are only through motivation. And whatever we tell our children again, it is all in our hands. Largely, to a great extent, 95% in our hands as to how we mold our children through pre-fundamentals. Most of you sitting in the audience again have been through pre-fundamentals, primary classes, and now they're all in high school. It's been a journey of 10 plus years. You've seen them enter Jain Heritage School as little children, and now they're all adults with independent thinking, ready for arguments, ready to tell you that you're all nagging them all the time, snooping on their cell phones. Yes? Snooping on their cell phones all the time. You agree? Thank you, ma'am. Snooping at their conversations, hearing their conversations, checking their bags to see what's happening. And the list is endless when you enter into a debate with them. Dear parents, human beings are creatures of interpretations. Human beings are creatures of interpretations. Our mental mode depends on what we see, on assumptions, on ideas. And this is much below the level of awareness. As teachers again, we base our mental levels on what we have studied when we were a student, and the same with parents. And we expect our children to talk to us the same way, to think the same way. Children or students, again, base their mental assumptions or mental mode on what they term as cool. You've heard them speak this word all the time. It is cool, chill mama, chill ma'am. So when they enter the classroom, the teacher would have an idea as to how the child should behave in the classroom. Whereas the student would have an entirely different image or the mental makeup. So there are always clashes. Of course, there are certain limits. Students cannot cross the limits. But then there's a clash of these ideas. And school is a fulcrum point for changes. So when we look at these kind of changing mental modes, it's extremely important that we adapt ourselves first to changing times. It's extremely important for us to deal with our children in a very professional and positive manner. Because the way we behave or the way we conduct ourselves in front of our students or children determines their scores, determines their comfort levels, determines their holistic development, determines their character. It all depends on how we deal with them. And it's getting tougher day by day dealing with them because they're very strong and independent in their thinking. Coming to my favorite topic, these digital natives, as I call them, are students who are hooked on their mobiles all the time. I had many parents coming and requesting for sessions on the use of mobile addiction. And many of you sitting out there attended the session which was conducted by our school counselor, Mrs. Manisha. But then, actually, in our daily lives, how many of us actually role model this in front of our children? We keep telling them all the time, don't use your mobiles, don't be on WhatsApp, don't be on the WhatsApp groups, snooping into what they are conversing on the WhatsApp group, on Facebook, etc., etc. How many of us, again, actually role model this? Including me. I'm part of you, so I include myself in that bracket. So it's extremely important that when we tell our children, we role model it. And this becomes crucial because this has intruded into the privacy of our lives. Whether it is eating on the dining table, going out, anything, all of us are hooked to our mobiles. Then how are we going to control our children? You can't stop them. You can't impose rules on them. Yes, now you can snatch away their mobiles, hide it. You can do that for 1 more year. That's it. So if you do that again, they will develop several means of getting mobiles. So you can't stop them, and they're all there on social media. The best we can do is to set in a lot of rules for ourselves first. We role model it and bring that down to our children. Because this has a direct impact on their academic performance, on their character formation, and it impacts their daily life, which is so important. It is extremely important to know what they are doing. It's not that you just have to let go of them freely, but then it's important that we role model it. I would like to use the word role model it again and again. It's very important. When we look at children in school, some of them are again awake in the night at 12 a.m. conversing or playing online games like PUBG or Fortnite, which is very harmful. I have killed 100 people today. This was the nature of conversation which was going on between two students last week. The other boy said, I killed 150. And the third boy said, what is this game? And they were explaining to him as to what this new game called Fortnite is all about. All of us need to understand the gravity of the situation, and we need to realize that these kind of happenings are worse than drug addiction when we look at things happening around us. One quick example of this boy who was from grade 10. The parents came seeking admission for grade 11 last week. They were in my office. The boy was a topper 2 years ago, having scores of 95, 96, between 95 to 99 in all the core subjects. He had a break of 1 year, and he was not admitted to any of the colleges in Bangalore for grade 11. He was a keen player of all these online games. And the father confided, saying that this boy was completely addicted to online games, and for 8 to 10 hours in a day, he was on mobile games. And they had taken him to a rehabilitation center for more than 6 months. He couldn't even speak normally, leave alone the damage that had happened to the nervous system. He couldn't even speak and converse normally. They just wanted him to lead a normal life, leave alone passing grade 11. They just wanted him to come to school, mix with his friends group, socialize with them, and just be a normal boy. It broke my heart to see the boy, because I put myself in the position of the mother. So it's extremely frightening to know the consequences. We all know the consequences, but then we need to be mindful of how we take this forward in the coming years, because this is seriously going to damage our children, the lives of our children. And the best way of converse is by conversing them, communicating to them, and to sum it up, being their friend. Nothing more. You pressurize them, tell them, nag them to study every day. Would they do that? They would retort back, isn't it? They would retort back or slam the door, get into their bedroom and slam the door, which is even a scary situation. So these are the kind of challenges, that we face together. And the only way of addressing this is by talking to them and by dealing with them as friends. That can be solved to a certain extent, not fully. With CBSE introducing so many changes in the assessment pattern, things are getting difficult for both the school and the parents and the students. But dear parents, please do not pressurize them so much, because we know the end results and it can get very scary. We need to handhold them, because there's so many avenues now. Till grade 10, we need to make sure that they all study the core subjects. And after grade 10, please do not give them a roadmap. It is on them to choose the kind of streams or the kind of subjects that they want to take up. Allow them to follow their passion, which is so important. There are so many fields, including sports management, which is a career by itself now. I think we need to allow them to pursue their dreams, which is so important. And these years, 6, 7, 8, are going to be crucial in the coming years. 8 to 9, grade 8 to grade 9 again. They are all going to come into the board examination pattern. And I'm sure all of you have heard about the new system where mathematics has been given to the students, and they've been given 2 options in mathematics in grade 10, 2 levels. And the level of teaching is the same. but they are allowed to choose level 1 if they are going to get into the math stream, or level 2 if they are not going to choose the math stream. That is only at the time of online registrations, not before that. So they'll have to study all the core subjects, encourage them, because math is a way of life and we need to encourage our children to study math. Recently, our coordinators, our exam coordinator and senior coordinator attended the CBSE workshop on the changing assessment pattern. And the CBSE were very firm on the detainment policy in grade 9. They insisted that in case the student has not done well in the CBSE 9th examinations, one more paper has to be administered, and in case the child does not do well, they need to be detained in grade 9. This is again a new policy that has come up from CBSE, and they were very firm on detaining the students in grade 9. So with all these changes, we need to again motivate our children. That's the best that we can do to do well in their academic assessments throughout the year. Just keep motivating them, and as a school, we've been doing it. We have a wonderful set of teachers who are hand-holding them every day, grade 6 and above, mentoring them day in and day out, making sure that they do well and encouraging them in all streams. And as parents, that's the best that you can do. Motivate and encourage them and increase their confidence levels, which is so important. With these few words, I would like to thank all of you for supporting the school since the last many, many years and being with us in all our endeavors. Thank you, my dear parents, for being a part of Jain Heritage School, and I truly appreciate this from the bottom of my heart. Thank you for being with us through all our challenges, supporting the school every time, and we owe our gratitude to all of you. I also would extend my gratitude. It's a long list. Please allow me to name our coordinators, all the coordinators from fundamentals to grade 12, Mrs. Jolly Joseph, Mrs. Veena, Mrs. Swagata, Mrs. Jaipriya, Mrs. Kusuma, Mrs. Kavita Sagar, Mrs. Daniela, and Mr. Krishna, Mrs. Maithili, Miss Maithili. These are all our coordinators across the school. A big round of applause to all our coordinators. Next comes all the class teachers across the school, specifically now 6 and above, all the class teachers of 6 to 8. Please give them a big round of applause because they've mentored your children, been with them day in and day out throughout the year. I would also like to thank the HODs of various departments, all the subject teachers, sports coaches, who have played a major role in inculcating good values to our children. I would be failing in my duties if I do not thank our admin team, the small team of 9-member team who are dealing with 2,000 children, 2,000 parents, and 150 staff members. A big round of applause to our admin team. I would also like to acknowledge the efforts of Mr. Shiva Prasad, Mr. Manjunath, our transport in charge, Mr. Govinda, who manages the food, Sodexo staff, who tirelessly work every day to make sure that things are in place for our children. As you all know, it's a mini hotel industry which we have at Jain Heritage School. I would like to use the word mini hotel industry. It is true, because the kind of efforts that go every day in making sure that things are in place, I mean, it's a Herculean task, and hats off to the entire team, the Sodexo team and Mr. Govinda for executing this smoothly day in and day out. Of course, we have our days when things are not in place, but then 99% it works out well. So I would like to appreciate and thank them at this juncture. I would also like to thank all our sub-staff who have tirelessly worked. Again, the transport coordinators inside the bus who are with the children all the time, the security personnel at Jain Heritage School for again being with the children all the time and monitoring them. I would also like to thank our nurses who are there all the time taking care of our children. A big round of applause to Ms. Rani and Ms. Balama who are there. Again, it's a mini hospital there. Wouldn't like to use the word hospital, but then there are a lot of cases on a day-to-day basis. They have a logbook where there are at least 30 cases in a day. Small injuries, of course, and we have a well-equipped medical room which you are all aware of. I would also like to thank our school counselors, our SAPA teachers, music teachers for their outstanding contributions. A big round of applause to them. I would also like to place on record my gratitude to Mr. Parshinath, our Director of Facilities, Ms. Aparna Prasad, who heads the corporate communication team. A big round of applause to them. This is the entire team of Jain